This is Curious Brain Thoughts.
Hello, Paul.
Hi, Lou. How you doing?
Not bad, you?
Amazing.
Good.
Splendid.
Lovely.
Hmm.
Well, go on.
Well, that's a good question. I'm not sure what is going on. My head's feeling quite empty at the moment.
Is it? Empty, you say?
Quiet.
Quite different. Very different. Quite an empty different.
It's quite empty different.
It's quiet. It's quiet in its empty quietness.
Pun? Yeah, what is going on? I don't know. Yeah. Not really sure. What about you?
Well, all sorts of things are going on. Are they not?
You're about to enlighten me.
Exciting things, exciting projects, bits of work.
All right. Yes, there's
Blah,
all of that.
all of
Yeah.
that, right? And I was thinking about this morning, that I have developed, without really meaning to or realising it, a new habit. Well, I must have meant to,
Mr. Mint 2,
but I've developed a new habit,
which is...
journaling.
Oh, stop it.
Now,
You definitely have meant to.
yeah, I have meant to, you're right. But I haven't, in the Atomic Habits type way, gone, let's break it down and do all of the things.
Yes.
It's been more organic than that.
You mean there's other ways to form
Oh
habits?
my goodness. Right, who knew? And so I was just thinking about that. Why do I do it? What do I get out of it? Why is it interesting? And I don't do it every day, but I do it with frequency.
Mm-hmm.
What I, and this is going to actually bring us back to the habit forming thing that they talk about, the cue and all of those things. I realised this morning that I kept my journal because I'd been away and I'd taken it with me. I'd put it in my laptop bag and then I'd come back and it was on my desk. It wasn't on the kitchen table, which is where I usually put it because it's part of my morning routine. And what that meant was I hadn't written it in it for a few days, even though I'd had time and capacity to do that, because it wasn't in the place.
Yes.
So that is interesting. The cue wasn't there. Anyway, I thought maybe it might be curious to talk about journaling and why that's a thing or not a thing, and how it helps or doesn't even help.
Sure, why not?
Why not?
Why not?
You up for that?
Yeah.
In your empty, quiet head? This might be a bit of a dull one, dear listeners, with Paul's empty, quiet brain.
Yeah,
head.
with my nickname being Pabs the Tabs.
Yes.
So maybe the browser's frozen.
Maybe you want to reboot.
Yeah, update available. Which is basically what it says on Lou's browser all the time. Because she's so good at doing all the updates.
Excuse me, thank you very much. That updated automatically overnight, thank you.
Actually, I saw on your computer earlier.
And my phone did it.
No, your computer browser.
Oh, yeah.
Says update available. I spotted it earlier.
Okay, but my phone did it automatically overnight.
Okay, great.
Because it told me it did this morning.
Okay, fine. Other browsers are available.
Right. So,
Journaling.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Because, like you just said, you don't journal every day necessarily. All right,
No.
so hold on a minute. Whoa.
Whoa,
Wind your neck in.
you've just done it wrong, haven't you?
No. You've just done it wrong.
Paul's done it wrong, everyone.
I think you'll find it is...
We've skipped a step, have we not?
Yes.
So those regular listeners amongst you will know what step we have skipped, and thusly it is this.
So, this is long.
Paul's looking for a definition, BT
yeah,
dubs.
actually, just something would be good that's vaguely like that. Okay, go away. Talk amongst yourselves.
So if you were to define journaling for yourselves, if you were to just say this is what it is and not rely on a World Wide Interweb definition, I would personally say it is a personal record of your inner thoughts, your feelings, events of the day or week. They don't have to be significant. So journals are different and have different intentions, but they are fundamentally a written expression of what's going on in your head.
So I have got a definition of journal: a magazine or newspaper that deals with a particular subject or professional activity, like medical journals.
Boring.
Wow.
Next.
Curb your enthusiasm, love. Jeez. A daily record of news and events. This is the other one. A daily record of news and events of a personal nature. A diary. And then there's an example. Wait for it. Write in a journal or diary.
So famous journaling diarists, Samuel Pepys.
It's not Pepys.
It's not Pepys, it's Pepys.
Yes.
Samuel Pepys.
Yeah,
Very, very famous diaries, and they actually are a form of historical record in a way, because he's talking about big events, and he was a bit of a mover and a shaker.
There's Anne.
Right?
She was quite
Good old
frank.
Anne. So these things are woven in, you know, and I'm sure everybody has read some kind of diary style or journaling style memoir of some kind, whether it's Anne Frank at school, whether it's Samuel Pepys. You know, you can
He
think
really liked
of
Pepys.
there are famous politicians who
Yes.
kept diaries. There are Alan Bennett, a famous playwright,
Oh,
yes,
yes.
lovely Alan. He kept diaries.
Is that
his
what
whole
Wind in the
life.
Willows was? The other diary I was thinking of
Yeah.
is the diary of a CEO.
Oh,
that
yes.
Stephen Bartlett does.
Oh yes.
So, interesting. Because that is a totally different format. It's video, podcast, with other people. So it's not just his own thoughts. It's his thoughts and those of other people. Maybe a podcast is a journal.
Maybe it is.
Maybe that's what we're doing.
Maybe we are. Dun dun dun.
Shut that door.
Right. Paul's empty brains had a revelation. So, the bit of journaling or diary writing that I do is there's a book
And a pen.
with some pages, and I write in it. What do I
Wow.
write in it? I don't write. I went to Sainsbury's, bought
Yeah.
a dozen eggs, had poached eggs for my breakfast, blah, blah.
Nice, by the way.
I don't, yeah, very nice. I had that yesterday. I don't do that. What I choose to do is pick out maybe moments of significance and talk about why they were significant. For example, maybe something's triggered me. Why has that triggered me? It's very much about thoughts, feelings, things that have struck me. And for me personally, it gets, if I'm confused about something or struggling with something, I find it super helpful to write that down, because in the act of writing it, I physically write it rather than typing it or speaking it. I think all of those modalities are valid, obviously, but for me, if I physically write it, my hand goes slower than my brain. And therefore, as I'm writing it, things are starting to percolate through. It's like a filter. And then by the time I finish explaining the situation, I'm actually, I then know. So it's a clarifying filter that helps me process things. That's how I use it.
Yeah. And, you know, I've seen lots of stuff about... Because obviously we're like personal growth enthusiasts.
We are, that's true.
And so therefore a lot of the content I see online is stuff around that. And I've seen loads of things about how journaling is almost like, has been, in certain cases, it's the same with mindfulness and exercise and lots of other things, it gets pushed as a thing. If you want to think clearly, you should journal. You know, it's almost then used as, almost like toxic productivity. You know, it's used as what's that? You don't journal? Well, you're obviously not thinking clearly.
Right.
Do you see what I mean? And then it's like, oh yeah, well, because I journal, that's why I think clearly. And it's like, yeah, that's true for you and for others. It might be a form of journaling, and it might not be.
Yeah.
You know, just like we made the leap from journaling to podcasting.
Yeah.
You could argue it's us journaling our thoughts and the things we're curious about. And you might not look at it that way.
Yep.
So there's almost in the zeitgeist at the moment is this stuff around forming these good habits, and there's a lot of focus on, so journaling is a good habit you should have, like exercise, like this, like that.
Yeah.
And that's why, coming back to the thing you said at the start, how you don't necessarily do it every day, that's also completely fine.
Yeah.
And noticing that you've organically built a habit out of it because you have found value from it. So you've actually wanted to, you don't have to always do it the other way round and, create this identity and blah-de-blah.
No.
So yeah, I thought that was quite interesting that, sometimes it's almost like a shame thing can be a message of not just journaling, of lots of things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you don't journal. Oh, right, okay. Well, us elite people do, you see. And yeah, I thought that was another interesting perspective.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that there are also lots of different kinds of journals. We've talked about, there are some people who wrote meticulous diaries about what they wore or the events of the day, or, and they then are like this stream of consciousness about things and stuff, which could be very, very helpful depending on who that person is. It's an insight into how a life is lived. But you could have a gratitude journal. You could have one of the journals, the style of journal like I'm talking about. You could have a journal that talks to your job, that talks to anything at all. So I understand what you're saying in terms of it being, journaling is a good thing, and I don't think anyone would disagree, but it's something that has to work. I mean, I've tried to write a diary in different ways for many years, and it's never ever stuck. So it's really interesting. One of the books, so as people who know me will know, I'm a bit of a stationary.
She has a problem.
I do.
She has a real problem, and it's something that other people have picked up on. It has been highlighted, and we're waiting for the team to come and do an intervention. Okay.
It is an issue. Callers, please send help. But basically,
in the form of stationery.
Yeah, if that comes in the form of stationery, then all the better, frankly. But I've got a plethora of books, notebooks and things in my office, and I was I'd finished one notebook and was looking for a new one, and I just picked one off the shelf at random, and in it, at the back, was the start of a journal from years ago that I had started because I was beginning some phase of personal growth, and I was wanting, but there were only a couple of entries, and I hadn't sustained it, and I can remember doing that a few times. This time it stuck, and I've been doing it since the start of the year. So, I think, and I find it so interesting. One of the things I really like doing is going back and reading an entry. Yeah. Because sometimes there's consistency, and I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. It's congruent. It's a theme that's coming through. Other times, actually, I noticed, God, look at how I was thinking. Yeah. And now look. And so it's a really nice way of just dropping in, because I wouldn't necessarily remember that with the vividness that it's recorded in the journal, but going back and going, look how far I've come. Yeah. And so those, I really appreciate, I don't do that every time I look at my journal, but I could happily sit and write for an hour or more. Wow. If I've got a lot of things I want to get out of my head, it's not a problem for me.
Yes. And it's really lovely being able to look back on all those things to see that growth.
Yeah.
You know, so there is value in the moment,
Yeah.
in helping to process and filter things and so forth. And then there is that looking back, that retrospection, and seeing the difference or the compounding similarity or whatever it happens to be. It's a really, really lovely thing to do. And I think for me, that will be one of the benefits of looking back on this podcast.
Yes.
You know, we will see, you know, we might listen back one day. Like, I still remember one of the episodes, Manifesting. I really enjoyed the start of it because we were laughing about for the first nearly 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's
just
true.
having such a laugh. You know, and it's nice to look back. And similarly, like you were talking about seeing growth or change or differences, I'm sure if we listen to episode 1, 2 and 3 versus episodes 20, 1, 2 and 3, we'll likely hear a difference.
Yeah.
We may not.
We may not. But there is real value. We don't want to live in the past. That's not what we're saying. I think there's just real value in looking over your shoulder and seeing how far you've come. Because we don't always recognise that. And if things are the same and we still want them to be different, then we can also tune into that, you know. So, yeah, for me, it is proving to be helpful and supportive. And I think that's the reason to keep doing it. If it's not helpful or supportive, why am I giving it my time and attention?
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, so I've got a book, a bullet journal that I use, and I'm far more infrequent using it because I find that a lot of the processing happens across multiple media. So sometimes it's doing something like this. Sometimes it might be after a coaching session with a client. Sometimes it's in my therapy. Sometimes it's maybe doing one of these. You know, so I haven't felt the need yet to have a single modality for working through those things, because even doing these podcasts, you know, believe it or not, listeners, the level of professionalism is off the chart, which you can tell, and the amount of preparation is literally negligible.
Speak for yourself.
Fine. Great. So, well, given I do all the setting up and everything else, great.
Paul,
and
there's a deep internal preparation process, right?
Yes.
Visible to you.
No. So, even in doing these things with the spontaneity of these podcasts, we can't speak at 100 miles an hour because we don't know what it is we're going to be talking about. And sometimes we're impassioned by something. And it's, again, this filtering your thoughts. So this is also quite a powerful tool. So if we think about journaling being maybe it's not just a physical thing, it is an act, in the context we're talking about, of processing inner thoughts, feelings, and stuff that's going on. Actually, so if that's an activity, that's available to us in lots of different ways, through prayer, through meditation, whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
And the benefit maybe of recording it in some fashion, whether that be words, pictures, audio, video, whatever, is that you can see the amount that you have grown, that things have changed or whatever over a period of time, and celebrate some of that stuff.
Yeah. And so, I think there's all sorts of reasons to start a journal. There's all sorts of reasons to stop, to never start, to put it down, pick it back up again. It doesn't really matter. It's a huge benefit to some people and a key golden thread in their life. which isn't to say there aren't other ways of processing and dealing with things, etc. But it is to say that for them, that is really important. The reason I was struck by it is because it's been relatively recent for me, even though I've tried.
Yeah.
Even though I'm a stationery addict and things like bullet journals, I'm like, yes, boom, I'm here for it. Even though all of that is true, I still, until recently, hadn't developed journaling practice, which means these things are always there and we can always pick them up. And sometimes it's about being ready.
Yeah. Yes, nice. And the fact that this is a way of sense making, working through, growing things that are going on for us.
Yeah.
So, as I'm thinking about this, the topic more, I can see just how much journaling I do, just not in the way that I had maybe conceived of before.
Yeah.
Just because I'm not writing in my book as much as you, for example, I am actually still doing quite a lot of journaling. Even important conversations that you have with people, can stir things up as things shift and move in your thought process and so forth, and create that anchor point that you can recall.
Yeah.
Groovy.
So it's a perspective and a state of mind as much as it is a book and a pen.
Yeah, totally.
Love that.
Yeah, really lush. So it's available to everybody.
Yeah.
At any time.
Yeah. And if you want some stationery, then that's also there.
That's also there. Lou's starting her own line of stationery.
Maybe I should.
Yeah. What would you call it?
Lou's stationery.
Oh my God. Right.
No, sorry.
Here we go.
Lou's lash stationery.
Okay, great.
Right?
Yes. I wonder if there's a play on words at all that's possible with Lou's stationery. Like bog books. Piss pens.
Oh,
No.
no, Paul.
So we're not going down that road.
No.
So Lou stationery. You see where I was going there?
Why can't we get her to move? That's different.
What?
So this is not off topic completely, but
Right.
it is. So my friend helped me out with this years and years ago. If you want to say, please pass me an envelope from the stationery cupboard,
Yes.
that is an E. E-R-Y. E for envelope.
Right.
And if I am stationary, as in I am
Ah.
not moving, that is an A.
Yes.
So as soon as I noticed that, I realised A, I was doing it wrong, and B,
And E.
and E. So E for envelope, that's how you know it's my stationery. And now as we know, I've got a stationery problem, and so at least now I'm spelling it correctly.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That is fandabby-dozy.
Right.
So, it would be wonderful to hear from Listenerland about some epic ideas for Lou's stationery brand, and we'll get straight on it.
Yeah, right, yeah, amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be on TikTok shop before you knew it.
Tick, tick, tock, tock. Maybe your USP could be it's recycled toilet roll.
Right. Help me out, dear listeners, because Paul's empty brain and quiet mind is not giving me the ideas. He's gone very much down a toilet road.
I know. Because Lou rhymes with poo.
Oh my God, the raw maturity of this
Yeah.
is unbelievable.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. And on that bombshell,
Right?
shall we? Yes. Don't forget to flush. Totty, bye.
Bye.
Curious Brain Thoughts.